All right. Welcome to our final podcast. Today we will be talking about Spider-Man Miles Morales. So, um, to start off, um, Spider-Man as a character, I assume you know, the web slinging, wall crawling man. Um, so the difference between, well, start off. This is the second game in the series. There was a original Spider-Man video game, The Amazing Spider-Man, I believe it's called, and this is the second installment. It's called Spider-Man Miles Morales, and this follows the journey of a second Spider-Man. His name is Miles Morales. But yeah, but Peter Parker, the original Spider-Man from the first game, still exists in this universe. Correct?
Correct. All that happened was Peter Parker went on a trip to another country while he left Miles Morales in charge of New York.
Ah, there we go. So what would this game be categorized as? RPG?
I believe this is a action adventure game.
Oh, okay. I was wrong. Action adventure. But basically, this game allows you to obviously play as Spider-Man in New York. New York in itself as a setting is, living, ebbing, full of life. And you have this mission. Actually, I'm gonna let either you guys just explain like what is the setting, but also like what is the context? Like who are the players, or like what is the story behind it?
Sure, okay. So yeah, as you said, Miles is from New York. He's from Harlem, so really the setting of the game happens in Harlem, but he's like slinging throughout New York and doing missions. Um, Before we go further, did someone want to explain what an action adventure game is?
I guess an action adventure game would just be any game that's classified as an action game, but the main character can adventure through the world. I guess in a way.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so basically, you're Miles. Um, I believe that this game does a good job with differentiating itself from the first Spider-Man game with Peter Parker. Um, and yeah, like I said, a lot of the game is just Spider-Man. His whole role throughout the game is kind of learning like, okay, there's more than one Spider-Man, and he's like stepping into a role where he has to save his city from different villains, basically.
On that, from the trailers, because obviously I haven't been able to get my hands on the game. Aren't there two different factions? There's like this Energy Corporation and it's like some underground faction, something like that. I could be wrong.
Yes, you nailed it. So in this game, literally you nailed it. The underground is one of the villain groups, and then the other villain group, like you said, is the Energy Corporation. I forgot their name right now, but yes, there's two main factions.
So then, like, what's the conflict per se? Like what are you entering into? So there's these two factions, right? But then are they like at a war against each other? Are they teaming up against Spider-Man, or like what's the backdrop for these villains?
Well, I just think it's Raytheon actually is the enemy Energy Corporation, but uh, so yeah, they're not really teaming up against Spider-Man. They're just both doing their own thing, I guess. Mostly Underground is trying to destroy New York, and the Energy Corporation is just trying to put their ideals push their ideals upon New York, but that could lead to bad things. By that I mean like destroying New York.
Oh, okay. So so how I see it is like this energy corporation is kind of like this like outside security or like company that's come in and just like, hey, we want to impose ourselves onto Harlem, New York, while this underground is like, yo, we just want it, you're just another faction in the way of us taking over New York. Yeah.
Yep, pretty much. And it's Roxxon, not Raytheon Lowell.
Oh, Roxxon. Okay, fair. So that's like the backdrop, right? But yeah, no, Josh, you're gonna say something.
Yeah, no. So the CEO of Roxxon is this guy named Simon Krieger, which he's like posed to the public as this very wealthy man who claims he's like trying to help out the city, but really, yeah, he's like using Roxxon to kind of destroy the city. And it's cool because you could see also from like the last Spider-Man, they have the Rhino, I believe that's his name. But basically, yeah, I don't want to spoil the game, but Rhino, he makes an appearance in the game, and he's kind of like the helper of Simon Krieger or Roxxon.
Actually, I was gonna ask that. So, like, how much tie-in is there with the previous game? Like, is this a separate entity, or is it like a continuation? Is there still some recall value to like the previous Spider-Man, or is this like an entirely different thing?
Yes, there's definitely some recall value, especially with certain events in relation to someone of Miles Morales' family. And yeah, the main villains behind the original Spider-Man, like Rhino. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would also say, just like playing the game, the moves are similar. The differences are in kind of like the abilities that Miles holds himself, like as a character. Um, yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but I think it's not a huge spoil. I think people know like Miles is
Yeah, Rhino was in the
different.
trailer, dude.
Yeah, but also like Miles is such a different uh character than like Peter in that he uses um like static or
Yeah, I was gonna get to that.
energy.
Yeah,
Called
okay, yeah.
Venom.
I was gonna get to that. So, what a key difference I saw, which is like between these two characters, was that like Spider-Man, yeah, you can upgrade his suit, right? And also Miles, you can upgrade his suit, but he has certain powers, right? That Peter just doesn't have. So there's just like this Venom stuff, and there's also the invisibility. Like if you guys touch up on like these like newer powers that Miles has that maybe Peter Parker doesn't have from the previous game.
Yeah, so with Venom, so you actually only have a certain amount of venom you can actually use. But as the more you level up in that game, the more Venom you gain access to. It's kind of the same thing of invisibility in a way, but it like you can't really extend it that long, but yeah, you can extend it for a decent amount of time.
True. And one thing I noticed playing the game is like there you can when you upgrade, you can definitely extend it like you said. But throughout the game you kind of just learn when to use the camouflage or the cloaking ability. It's like when you're fighting people with the cloaking ability, it doesn't last very long. But if you're just being stealthy, it lasts pretty long.
Um, on that, so what is Venom? Like, is it just is it just this intangible thing, or like, what is it? Because from what I understand, is like this Venom thing, it allows for you to have these power ups. Like, what is this Venom? Do you like collect certain Venom potions or something to refill, or like, how do you? What is this Venom, and like, how do you get it?
Yeah, so with Venom, it refills whenever you get a successful combo on a group of enemies. Like if you're going across New York, if while you're slinging through, if you do tricks, you'll gain Venom as well. It's just stuff like that, combat and out of combat stuff you can do to gain Venom.
So just doing these things just allows you to have Venom, and then through this Venom, you can do these special suit power ups and stuff like that. Yeah.
It's like a reward for like doing cool things. and then like you can do more stuff with that. So
Fair. So obviously we really can't go that deep into story without spoiling it. But how does it compare to the previous one? That you're playing obviously is a different Spider-Man, but do you rate this as a better story than before? Was the first story better? What do you guys think?
Personally, oh, sorry, go for
no,
it.
go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, personally, I think that this is just like a better story and a better game. Um, I liked the fact that it was the youth like Miles, and there's this other youth character who are kind of like big parts in the story, and obviously like we're all fairly young, so you know, and for myself, when I look at like Miles is like a black dude, I'm also black, so I could kind of see myself in him. Like when they talk about superheroes a lot, it's like kind of hard to relate. But this game is a pretty cool game that I think a lot of like people of color can really relate to because Miles is both black and Mexican, I believe, or some Latinx country. Yeah, that's why I like it.
Yeah, I was also gonna say, there's definitely like a lot of like character like progression. I feel like um, Miles is thrust into like the having to protect all of New York City, and obviously he's like kind of just a kid and that kind of thing. Like you really see his character grow through the game. I think that's pretty cool. So and with that, like if it's just Peter Parker, it's like oh he knows what he's doing by now, So it's like sure you can play as Spider-Man, but it's not like you're growing or learning or anything.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Interesting. Because because obviously once again don't have my hands on the game. Bummer. But yeah, I definitely think this game has a lot more culture to it. Like they've tried to show and encapsulate Harlem like as the setting. That like Harlem is a living, breathing portion of New York. I think that's pretty cool. That they've put effort into trying to encapsulate the essence that is Harlem. Um, I don't know. Yeah, Josh.
Yeah, I agree. I think they do a really good job of kind of like tying in the culture of Harlem, and like Miles has this pride for his city, and you can hear it in like some of the dialogues too when he's like fighting villains. He's like, not my city, because there's a part where basically Harlem is like gonna there's like a threat basically, and so yeah, even the little details you can see that they like their attention to detail is really really amazing.
So on that, so setting obviously has changed a little bit. Person, like the character you play as, has changed also. But so like fighting mechanics and swinging. How do you guys compare that to before? I think the last game, the first one, Spider Man. I think the swinging was good. I think there was a certain gravity to it. That it felt realistic. Even though obviously a person swinging from spider rope, webs, not real, but it still had like some realism to it. Like gravity and inertia, and like if you release at the right point of your swing, you'd launch further. Um, so yeah, have they improved on that, or have they kept the same mechanics? Um, on that.
To me, it's kind of the same, but it's kind of like how can you change that to where it'd be like a meaningful difference? And I don't know if there's really that many ways to change it, but I think the difference between them is in the stuff that we talked about, like the story and the character and all that. So, but yeah, like the base gameplay stuff, other than like the new powers that he has, I think is pretty close to the last game.
Right, and yeah, like you said, Ollie, or like you said, Ryan, there's not a lot that they could have changed, but they were able to change um, some of the like tricks you could do when you hold down a button. So Miles has like a signature moves that you could do if you move the left stick, or if when he's like still in the air, he's like up there, he kind of like looks upside down at you. There's little things, but in terms of the swinging itself, there really was not a difference.
Fair. Just randomly just occurred to me. So say if someone wanted to buy this game, would they have to have played the previous game, or could they just jump into this and they'd be fine?
Yeah, so I, for one, did not play the original game, but I kind of read a synopsis and a like summary what happened in the original before getting into this one. So I had a general understanding, but yeah, I feel like even if you don't do that, I think you can just get right into this game.
For sure. And they do a good job just teaching you everything at the beginning. And then through game, when you want to add moves, like they teach you, and there's even the moves.
So you can invest
Oh,
into
this
the
just hit me. Fair. Are skills useful? Like, do you need to use skills? Like, say,
Because what I
I'm an
realized
amateur, right?
was the levels, there was like one more level, and that would be the highest one. But they kind of harder because, well, for one, they know that you can like cloak. That's like later on in the game when you can add it. But yeah, like they intentionally make the fighting parts a little bit harder so that you can cloak efficiently and use the skills that you purchased.
Fair, because like what I remember is from what game was it? Yeah, it was like either Batman or something. Like you'd learn new skills as you got further down the game, but I never ended up using them. You know, I still was able to get by with my original tricks that I had been using. You know, but it sure sounds like that. Like as you progress through this game, it becomes more important that you understand how to use these skills for Miles to actually pass this game. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And it's cool because like especially with his venom powers, like you can upgrade skills to like, you know, do more with his powers. And I'll say like I have failed a couple of the like fighting objectives just because it was like kind of hard, and then you gotta like okay, step back, be like, all right, let me be more strategic and not just like go out and fight a bunch of people, you know.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Also, this is totally kind of side note. Is there a DLC coming for this game? Are there already DLCs for this game? Like extra side missions you can play or no?
I mean, there are extra side missions, but I don't think there'll be anything beyond that. Like, like it's already in a sense DLC, I guess you could say, because it's only what like a 10 to 12 hour game, somewhere in that range. But yeah, I honestly don't think there'll be any extra DLC, especially with how the game and I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
Fair. Don't touch too much on the ending, but does the ending, like depending on the ending, where do you think the next game will go? Is it gonna be a Peter Parker game? Is it gonna be a Miles Morales game? Or will it be like a mixture of the two going forward? Like don't obviously, you know what I'm saying, but like depending on the ending, like where does the future lie for Insomniac and the Spider-Man franchise?
I could totally see a mixture of the two. What do you think, Josh?
I could totally see a mixture as well. Um, I could also really, really see Miles Morales.
Okay. Fair. No, there's so many questions I want to ask, but like I haven't played the game. I don't want to spoil it. Like, because in the first game they were attempting to make a Sinister Six. Um, Sinister Six, if you didn't know, is like this OG band of villains against Spider-Man. Like the Avengers had Thanos, right? So Spider-Man has his own. It's called the Sinister Six. And in the first game, Peter Parker, they were kind of starting to assemble. There was the Vulture, Rhino, Doc Ock, and who was it? Vulture, Doc Ock,
Vulture, Doc Ock, Electro.
Electro. So like they were assembling
I
this
think there's like
Sinister
5.
Six. Yeah, there's like 5 of them. Like they're only honestly missing only one, I think, right? But then in this game, right, they went totally not sideways, but they went to Miles Morales, right? And they introduced like these more not brand villains, but not mainstream. Is that what I'm trying to go with? Like they're not like that main Sinister Six. So I thought it'd be interesting. Is the next game, do you think, Sinister Six or will it be more Miles Morales enemies?
No, at the end of the game, they set up one of Spider-Man's key villains. I'm not going to go into that, but yeah, I think it'll be more Sinister Six.
Fair.
I would expect that we see like the next game is like you can play as Peter Parker and Miles Morales. I'd expect like
But yeah, I can totally
big
see
thing where you
that.
switch between them all the time, and
Yeah,
they're like in different parts of the city fighting different people and things like that. So
Right.
That's
And
my guess.
even like the beginning of the game, you do play with Peter Parker. You don't play as Peter Parker, but the two Spider-Mans are playing together.
Interesting.
it does leave options for like a co-op game or something like that. I think that would be
Yeah. That'd be cool. Like you could just because I remember was it Arkham Knight Batman? So Batman and Robin are fighting, right? And as you're fighting as Batman, you can switch over and play as Robin if Robin is in trouble, then switch back over to Batman. So I could definitely see that happening. But yeah, no, that's interesting. Does anyone know like if I mean the sales on the first game were pretty good too. But does anyone know what the sales are looking for like this game? Like is it doing well or is this doing all right? Like how is it faring in the market and like review wise? People liking it?
Yeah,
Review-wise.
it was the best-selling physical game like during PS5 release, and now like the new Call of Duty is there, but um yeah, it's I think the issue is that like a lot of people are wanting to get a PS5 to play it, and there's not a whole lot of PS5s consoles available, so it really is hurting the sales right now. But yeah, so but it's done okay. So
Fair. But yeah, no, I think it's interesting because I'm not gonna say it's one of the PS5 and Sony's selling points, but it kind of is, you know, because Spider-Man is a Sony entity, you know, so it's kind of like, hey, we have this property, this license to Spider-Man. We can only have this Spider-Man game. Like it's a PS5, PS4 exclusive. And to make a good game like this, I think it honestly helps them. If anything, like people are like, I really want to play the Spider-Man game, and it might. Who knows? It maybe might lead to console turnover.
yeah.
But I think that's interesting though. Does anyone know what are Insomniac's other games? Because honestly, I'm gonna be honest. Before Spider-Man, I did not know of Insomniac.
Yeah, they did let's see, they did Sunset Overdrive, which was like supposed to be that huge game for a while. They're working on that new Ratchet and Clank game.
Oh yeah.
I think they've done one in the past or one or two in the past as well. Um, I think they've done a lot of the Ratchet and Clank games. That's like probably what they're most known for, and then some Spyro games too, I think.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't know like what was their brand, right? Like Ubisoft, you kind of know where they're going, and all these other like
Yeah.
Activision. Is Activision still alive? Activision's still a thing,
They're
right?
part of Blizzard.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah,
Right.
it's
So
Activision Blizzard.
like you know what their brand is. Their brand is Call of Duty, but like for well, I already forgot the name. What was it? The freaking studio making Insomniac. I can't believe I forgot that. Like they're diversifying,
Yeah.
especially with a successful franchise like this, So I think that'll be interesting to see where does Insomniac go next.
Yeah, they're working on the Ratchet and Clank game and then some other games too right now, I think. One's like what is it? Oh, I think they just released it, but like Stormland. I think it's a VR game.
Oh, okay.
That's
Word.
one thing they were doing. Yeah, so
Fair. Because
they
I feel
have
like
some very different things happening.
yeah, that's right. Like I think that's cool that they're like more diverse because like once like a product kind of gets good, you just kind of become associated with that. Like Bungie, I bet they had other games before Halo, but then once Halo happened, it was just Halo Factory. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just Halo Reach, Halo Destiny, Halo this,
It's
Halo
like
Destiny,
Activision and Treyarch and
yeah, exactly. Like once a product became extremely mainstream and successful, that studio just started pumping out games that were related to that. So I think it'll be interesting to see that where does Insomniac go? I mean, Spider-Man is definitely like their hot product right now. So I think it'll be interesting to see like where do they go next? Do they make another just keep milking the Spider-Man thing, or do they go another direction? I don't know. Thoughts?
I'd imagine they keep making Spider-Man games because they've been incredibly popular, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I think they should just keep going with these Spider-Man games, but like I just saw that Miles Morales didn't make nearly as much as the first Spider-Man game did when it came out. Not sure.
I mean that could be true.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
at the same
issue
time,
is sorry. The issue is the PS5 launch though. I think that's kind of messed it all up.
Exactly, honestly, because also look at the times. Currently, we have COVID time and stuff like that,
Yeah.
right? Like when Spider-Man dropped, right? We could go and buy games in person, right? So obviously, that was like the game. You could go buy it on disc, buy it, download, whatever. Now, obviously, disc sales in itself have probably plummeted, right? Because we can't really go to the store and buy these games. But yeah, I think a lot of it is tied to the PS5 being just so hard to find. Because like it's definitely was marketed with that, like, oh, you'll be able to feel like his power ups and all that stuff through this controller that has like 65 motors or whatever. So definitely the PS5 sales have been also impacting Spider-Man sales because if you can't get your hand on the console, how are you gonna play the game? But then again, Braxton, you played on PC?
No, I played on PS5.
Oh, he's got PS5.
He got a PS5.
He got a PS5.
Well, I'm gonna go.
Tell us about it, please.
Tell us about it, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my!
How'd you pre-order it? Yeah.
Yeah, I got it on Amazon. Amazon OP.
Nice.
Amazon kicked me off the order, so cool. Cool. So, okay, did you feel it through the controller? Like, is it really a different experience or no?
I don't really. I mean, it did feel somewhat different, I guess, but I don't know. I couldn't really compare since I never had a PS4 controller, so I can't really compare the two, I guess. But the reactions on the controller with like the DualSense, I felt pretty good, I'd say, for sure.
All right, interesting. I did not know our boy Braxton here had the PlayStation 5. All right. Because definitely it was advertised, right? Like that was like a big selling point. Was like, oh, you can immerse yourself in the games with this new controller, and I just wanted to know, like, if that's did you really feel immersed with the controller or no?
I mean, who really looks down at their controller when you're playing a video game?
Yeah, no, I feel. And then Josh, you played on PS4, correct?
Right, I did. So
Anything special? Because honestly, I don't know how to quantify the different experience between PS5 and PS4. Like honestly, it just comes down to the controller, correct?
Comes down to controller, FPS,
yeah,
and ray tracing.
Yeah. But hey, I mean, controllers are controller at the end of the day. So fair,
you're right.
fair.
It
You
was
dudes.
it was a simple, for me at least. It felt similar to the first
Okay, word.
Spider-Man. Yeah, but when I was looking on YouTube for like the PS5
Yeah.
like reviews, the quality of like the slinging through the air was like
Different.
precise. Yeah,
Really? Okay.
really good. It looked like it. So I mean, there might have been a little bit of delay playing on the PS4
Hmm.
or less quality, I guess.
Yeah.
But it just comes with the console.
No, that's fair. But see, I think that's interesting that they've like tailored it to the PS5. That hey, we want to make use of this new technology, and we're gonna be one of the first games to do so. And boom. But I mean, hey, maybe Braxton didn't see it. Maybe if I ever get my hands on a PS5, I will. Honestly,
Yeah.
at this rate, I will see if it's any different. But yeah, any closing thoughts from you guys?
I was gonna say one thing that I thought would be interesting. I was just looking through the Insomniac Games like portfolio, and they've made like multiple virtual reality titles. I think I want to know your guys' opinion if like a VR Spider-Man game might be like the future for that or something like that, because I think that would be pretty sweet. So
Dude, if that happened, wow. I don't know how far
Seriously.
we are in VR games though right now. Like, are we in POV yet or no? Are we still doing third person in VR?
no, it's in PoE. I have a the Oculus Quest 2
Uh-huh.
VR headset, and yeah, it's pretty insane. Um, there's some new releases coming out soon that I'm pretty excited about that I think are going to be like big steps forward. But I think a Spider-Man VR game, while it would probably make you really motion sick, would be really awesome. But
Oh, quick disclaimer. VR, virtual reality, the headsets people put on their faces, on their eyes, that's VR.
yeah,
But dang, dude, if they do go in that direction, that'd be awesome. And
yeah,
honestly, the way they paired up Spider-Man with PS5, I could see them re-releasing their PlayStation VR thingy with that
Mhm.
Spider-Man VR game.
yeah. I'm sure they're gonna do VR on the PS5. Like it's gotta happen, you know. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, I think a Spider-Man game would be so cool.
What you think, Josh and Brexton?
I think
Um,
for sure it would be pretty dope if they were able to pull that off for sure.
oh yeah, definitely. Because was it the Xbox One that had the VR set, or am I thinking about the wrong one?
No,
Uh,
PlayStation originally had a VR set.
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
PS4 has VR.
Never tried it
VR
though.
headset. Yeah,
seriously, me neither. But maybe they're gonna resurrect the idea
Yeah.
with PS5.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the game is popular Spider-Man. If they just resurrect it with the VR, who
Mhm.
knows? But yeah, who knows? Um, anything else from you guys? This is the last podcast. Any closing thoughts on this journey of ours? Brilliant.
Yeah.
And with that, thank you for coming to our podcast.